Perfecto.
We've got some fresh.
Hey, I'm Luis.
And this is Luis.
And welcome to the Content is Profit podcast.
In here, you're going to get the insights, accountability, and drive to create consistently and increase revenue.
You'll hear from top entrepreneurs, creators, and anything and everything you need to know about content. All this while having a good time.
The goal of this podcast is simple: to entertain, educate, and turn your content into profit.
That's right. Good job, Fonz. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm laughing because I don't know if it was my headphones or you actually pronounced it that way, but when you say content is profit, it sounds like you said content is profit.
Profit. I know. My P.
Or you're thinking about your frappuccino someday.
Oh man, you know, I had back in the day, I had these shirts like I burn my calories for frappuccinos.
I remember that. That's true.
That was such a good one. But yeah, I've been keeping my calories in lately, so it's okay.
I know you started hitting the trend.
I know.
Public congratulations to you
Congratulations.
that you are crushing it. So I'm very proud of you.
I know.
So you know.
We'll see how it works today with the kids. Katie's not getting home till later, so I'll have both kiddos, and I have to jump on that tread.
We'll see how it goes. But enough brotherly love. Let's move on to today's topic. What are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about the battle for your attention. That's right. There's a battle being fought in the interwebs. It's ruthless.
Is it like
it's heavy?
The Sith, the darkness,
the darkness. For your attention, who are you giving your attention to? Why all these things are impacting the world, the B2B world, the business is impacting you.
Yeah, that's right. So
we're gonna talk about that today.
How does this topic came to be? Well, Instagram recently announced, right? They made an announcement saying that all the videos under 15 minutes are gonna just be posted as reels. Right, and
all
for
the
those,
videos.
all under 15. I double checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Right.
Thank you, fact checker.
Get it right, get it tight. Now, what does it mean? What does it mean now if all these videos are just going to be reels? And for those that are not familiar with what reels is or are, what reels are, is a type of pretty much content that is vertical and literally all you do is swipe. So you can see more and more and you get consumed. It's very similar. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as TikTok.
It's Instagram's copy or response to TikTok, right? Like you remember when YouTube, like YouTube has been.
I mean, it's been
when
there for a while.
Instagram released IGTV, it was Instagram's response to YouTube. Videos.
When they did the stories, it was in, response to Snapchat, all that stuff.
That's right. Ooh, Instagram, copy.
I know.
Copycat.
It's funny because I feel like Instagram is the category king. With Facebook, right? Like Meta, let's say Meta is a category king, but they actually seem not to innovate as much.
I think it depends on the
competition innovates and then they try to buy them. If they say no, they just copy them.
I think the category king depends on the generation because a lot of people,
I agree.
Now they're like TikTok is a category king in the vertical videos, right? And then they're trying to adapt.
That is a great point, actually.
Anyway, so how are these format impacting the B2B world? Like what's about the update?
Wait, before we dive into that, like what are the reasons? What did Instagram say are the reasons for them to do this? They said it's always for the user experience, right? Of course, they want to make it better for the creators. What do we think about that, though?
For the user experience. They want to keep you addicted to the content and keep you in there. I saw a video by the Instagram CEO, and one of the first
he looks
things,
like a cool guy. We should try to bring him on the show.
I'm down. If you know him, if you're listening, tell him that Content's Profit. Want to bring him on.
That's right.
Anyways, I thought it was funny because one of the initial remarks was, we'll keep the pictures. He made sure that, Instagram was founded on this thing, on the picture side of things. Oh, we're keeping them, right? And they're like a half step away from removing the pictures from the Instagram feeds.
Well, funny enough, actually, the other day I was scrolling TikTok and one of the posts that I landed on was pictures. Like now on TikTok, you can post pictures and it's kind of like a carousel. So it is actually like a video, but you can just tap on the side and it just moves to the next picture. I know.
So many creative choices now. You can do vertical and then horizontal.
Lots
scrolling.
of opportunities. Yeah. So nice. I think Instagram might do something similar too. I think Instagram is going to be like, oh, we're not going to remove the pictures, but they're going to show up as reels.
Yeah.
Right? So you can scroll and now there's a possibility that it's just not a video. it just lands on somebody's picture or set of pictures.
I think when he says it's for the user experience, is they've seen a lot of the market transition into those platforms like, TikTok, obviously, for vertical videos, and the way that you can actually edit and create your own videos or creative inside of the app. But also YouTube Shorts has been a massive player in this side of things, because a lot of creators are creating these little short concepts to promote their bigger content, right? And just recently, Reed, who's Mr. Beast manager, one of the biggest creators in the platform, he said that part of the strategy for people that are starting on YouTube, it's easier to get on shorts, on vertical content initially, see what resonates, and then transition into long form.
Yeah, so that was a video with Noah Kagan, right?
Yeah, it was so good.
I know, it was good. Good stuff. We're going to have to bring Reed and Noah to the show.
Yeah. And I know, Noah, you'll listen. Maybe
we'll send you this. We'll make sure you listen to this. Yeah. Something that came to mind is, of course, they say this is for the user experience, etc. On the back end, you always have to ask, like, who's benefiting from this, right? And at the end of the day, they are a business, so they want to make money. And my mind immediately went to that episode that we did the other day, where we highlighted, TikTok's revenue in the first 4 or 5 years or their business compared to Facebook, and how crazy, like how steep, that incline was for TikTok, how fast they've been growing. So if you look at it, it's like, okay, what are the reasons that they're growing so fast? Well, I mean, people are using TikTok a lot, and they're the social media where people spend the most time in.
Yeah.
So that was mind blowing. So Instagram potentially looked at that and said, how can we keep people more engaged in the platform, keeping them here for longer? Because the longer you are in a platform, they get to serve you more ads, etc., and they get to make more money. It's as simple as that. If you're using it for free, you are the product, right? If you're not paying for it, you are the product. So in my very humble opinion, I think Instagram is obviously competing for your attention, and they want to keep you longer on the platform. And I think what they've seen through their data is that people are consuming a lot of reels when they go on the platform. And honestly, I've seen it in my own personal behavior. I barely scroll through the regular feed anymore. I go a lot to the reels. When you go to the explore page, you have a bunch of reels. And once you tap on one of those, immediately prompts you actually to keep scrolling.
Yeah.
And once you start scrolling, that is hit of dopamine after dopamine hit, and you just stay stuck there watching that thing for hours.
Yeah.
Right?
So obviously we're describing a little bit of the user experience, but like as a creator, what does that mean to you, right? If you're a business and you now need to create for these platforms, it can be overwhelming. I was actually on a call this morning, and one of the main questions that we ask when people want to come work with us in the agency side of things, on the production side of things, is like, what's your ultimate goal, right? Where do you want to be present? Why do you want to be present there, right? Mm-hmm. And there seems to be a lot of overwhelm when it comes to producing your own content, right? So this specific example, they're producing a podcast that's going to go to Apple TV, Roku, like these amazing platforms, and they want to leverage that. They want to create relationships, very similar to what we're doing with our own show. But then what happens is a lot of the energy on their either internal production teams or themselves, the entrepreneur themselves, because for some reason a lot of entrepreneurs decide to tackle production themselves, is on the production of that content. Like, how do I chop it up? How do I select these ideas? How do I format it for different platforms? Well, guess what? Good news. Now, really, you need to think in vertical terms, like for TikTok and Reels and Shorts and all these things, right?
Yeah.
But then a lot of energy and capacity is spent in that moment of production. And then what happens is when the content goes out, there's no capacity, there's no energy on studying that content, studying the performance of that content in these platforms, right? So one of the amazing data points that we gather from Colin and Samir, for example, that episode that we did, and they have an amazing podcast that talks for creators, about creators, which is amazing. And is one of the strategies that they're putting all this vertical content, then they go back and they see what was the top performing video. And then from there, they optimize for YouTube, right? So for example, if you do have a podcast or if you have a platform like this, you could do this, creating a ton of vertical videos for Reels, for example, as a creator. And then you look back at that data, and then you can select one or two that you can develop a little bit longer video, a full episode. What resonated? Was this useful for the audience? Because the data, with the speed of movement, because these platforms are releasing these updates, they want you to use them, right? So you're going to get a lot of traction. And then from that, you can optimize for a YouTube video that's longer shelf life, right? You can optimize for an ad video that you can put money behind. It's a little bit more effective because it's already proven by them. So I think all these updates, you can, if you're a business, right? Obviously, as a consumer, a lot of people are going to be on top of that. They're going to see it's the dopamine hit that Fonzi was describing. But as a business owner, how can you leverage that to continue and evolve your content?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about, is this the right thing to do, right? Like, should you just go and start creating everything in vertical? I think it's a great tool, right? Of course, of being able to test. And there now is a higher chance of virality, right? Which is a lot of what people wanted, because the complaint, if you remember, on Facebook, for example, was that your pages or your posts have barely any reach, right? People, oh man, I'm just going to have to pay for reach. Well, I think with this swipe method, right? Let's just call it this swipe method right now that social medias have, they are increasing the chances of somebody going viral, right? Which is exciting for people because they're like, oh, cool, yeah. I'm going to put content out there and, I'm going to get a good organic reach. Is that going to stay like that for the long time? Who knows, right? But for me personally, I'm thinking, is that the right thing to do for B2B? And obviously the question, the answer to this question is a little bit subjective and depending on your situation. If you are already, like my brother said, producing something long form, let's say like this podcast, this awesome podcast called Content is Profit that you're listening to now. Yes, you can definitely leverage a system where you are creating multiple bits of content of 1 minute and then putting them as top of funnel content and see what sticks. And then you can either further develop or that is working as, the top of funnel content that is driving traffic to your podcast. Now, what if you're not in there? What if you're on other social media like LinkedIn, right? That doesn't have this. Or Facebook itself that is mostly about like groups and stuff like that and personal updates. Like, should you then start considering this? And I think we go back to one of, foundational principles, the publishing pyramid, and just think about what is your capacity. Do you have the capacity to do so? Because at the end of the day, if what you're doing right now is working, or are you going to change it, right? But if you keep doing the same thing for a long time and it's not working, then why are you going to keep doing the same thing, right? Maybe you need to try these new opportunities. So I want to invite you to think about that, right? Is this the right move for my business? And if you're already producing long form piece of content and you're looking for ways to, of course, multi-purpose it, turn it into, smaller clips that you can share into the world, who are you going to call?
Call the BIZBROS.
Exactly.
What are you going to call? Call the BIZBROS. That should be the...
We should have like a Ghostbusters songs with that. Yeah. But that's right. If you need some help with that, just hit us up and we'll be more than happy to help you out.
I think at the end of the day, right, like whether you have your internal team and, you look at these updates, start experimenting. I think one of the takeaways, right, from the call this morning was these people had a VA, right, and they wanted to see, well, what's better, schedule it here or put it out there organically. And run some tests, right? You can run a week completely organic. You can run a week completely TikToks, completely Reels, completely vertical. Then the other day, test different kind of content. That's the beauty of it, right? At the end of the day, the information that you share, right, comes from one source, which could be you, right, or research or the things that you do. And then that can be formatted in different formats, different ways. Test it out, right? Week 1, this is what we're doing. Week 2, this is what we're doing. Week 3, this is what we're doing. And then look back at that data and be like, well, we got results here, here, and here, right? Week 1 on day 5, what happened on that day? And you're going to find out very interesting things. I think the mistake is a lot of people don't look at that, right? We did that mistake for the podcast. We explained our reasons on why we didn't do it for the podcast. But now that we look at data, we see content in a very different way. And it's a little bit more enjoyable. It's different. This is why we're doing these episodes like this. And then it can do the same for you and the micro content. Also, it depends, back to the publishing pyramid, like Fonzi said, your own capacity, your own resources. Like, how do you feel comfortable creating, right? There's a lot of people that feel very comfortable doing it, the vertical content organically. We feel very comfortable doing vertical content from the podcast, for example.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think you got to look at, okay, what are the rules of the game within these platforms? Again, they're looking to benefit, right? They're looking to, of course, make some money. They're a business. So I think if you play by the rule of their games, like, you're going to get rewarded, right? Every time they put new features and new things, when you use them, like, you see an increase in your reach and all that thing. So if they are pushing so much this type of content, maybe it might be a good idea to start creating content in this way and start sharing it this way to see if you can benefit from it, right? Again, obviously, check on your capacity and your publishing pyramid to make sure you can do it.
Yeah.
But before we head out, I have a fun remark that I thought about as I was putting the episode together.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys remember. Actually, I'm going to leave with this. I think there was a software. I don't even know if it was a software. It was like a website that was above its time, right? Like, yeah. I think they had this like swipe dopamine hit culture way before TikTok and Reels and Shorts, and even before Tinder. You know,
I don't know. I was a loyal man before Tinder came into.
It is, you know, it's a website called Stumble Upon. I don't know if you guys remember
it was
about
so
that.
Good. Highly addictive.
But you know, I was thinking like the concept of TikTok and Reels, all this thing is so similar to that, which is introducing novelty, right? Because if you look at the traditional social media, right? Let's just say Facebook feed and then regular Instagram feed, you just usually looking at people that you already follow. Which, yes, people want to keep you connected with your circle, and that is part of the, you know, the meaning of social media. But it gets to a point where it is not as exciting anymore because it is, you know, the routine of always seeing the same type of people. Now, TikTok, this new type of content introduces novelty. Like, you're scrolling and you're literally like, what am I going to get next? Right? Like, what is the next funny joke that I'm going to get here on TikTok that's going to make me crack up, or on Reels, whatever, right? And Stumble Upon had that a long time ago. I remember I would spend hours just like hitting Stumble Upon, and it just opens a brand new website, you know, within your interest. You will have to tell what were your interests. The difference now is that all these social medias have algorithms that they determine your interest, and then they serve you those stuff that keeps you hooked, right? So I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, this is so cool. Stumble Upon was so ahead of its time. I think it actually failed. I think they don't exist anymore. They change it. Somebody bought it and they do something different. Because I'm telling that my brother, because he's looking at it.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Now.
I was like, the thought came, was like, well, maybe one of these apps purchased Stumble Upon because of the algorithm or something like that. But it looks like I mean, this is from 2007.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very different
eBay
product.
has confirmed an all-cash $75 million acquisition to social discovery service Stumble Upon. So eBay bought him, but I don't know.
But yeah, that was a very long time ago. But it was so exciting because you were like, oh, what's gonna come up next? And the feeling of novelty, and then of course the dopamine hit it. Yeah, that's the one. Mix. That's how it's called right now.
Yeah, it's an app.
And so yeah, I thought about it, and I think TikTok and Reels are kind of like cashing in on that idea that was above its time. And now they're obviously using it to, you know, get people hooked, fighting for your attention. So you stay hours in their platform consuming. But remember, don't be a consumer, be a creator.
Yeah.
But before, I need to get back to the one-on-one rule. I forgot about that.
I know, you forgot your own rule.
The shirt got stained and I haven't used it anymore, and I forgot about rule. You know, I don't see it.
You need
out
a
of
new
sight,
shirt.
out of mind.
You need a new shirt.
I need a new shirt, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't eat pasta with white shirts on. Bad idea.
For those that don't know, the 1-1 rule is that for, you know, 1 minute of consumption, you got to do a 1 minute of creation, right? 10 minutes of consumption, 10 minutes of creation.
Well, that's not quite the rule, but you can apply it that way.
That's how I saw it.
The rule is every time you are open the app to consume, you got to create, pretty much.
There you go. I mean,
yeah. If you want to keep it at equal ratios, 1 minute and 10 minutes, whatever.
All right.
That works too.
Action point. Okay. So, action point for me, I think I would recommend you, if you're creating in a certain way, try to switch it up a little bit for like, put a time frame, right? You're going to create, especially now on the vertical side of things. If you do not create vertical, go ahead and create for a whole week and distribute that for a whole week and see what happens, right? Do you see an increase? Do you see a decrease? Do you see certain posts that grab a lot of traction in those platforms? Why did they grab some traction? Study whether that's the headline, whether that's people consuming it, and then replicate and continue to grow that way. I think that will be my action point. Do you have a different action point?
Well, I would invite you to just think about your publishing pyramid. Right? Where are you at right now at the moment? Look at your messaging, your consistency, your capacity, and your resources, and then act upon that, right? If you're already tight, why are you going to put more things on your table, right? But if you do have the capacity to test something new, then go ahead. And if you got resources and you don't know exactly how to use them, and you need a fractional content team that can come in and help you out, guess what? You can call
the BIZBROS.
Yeah, you can call us and I will help you out.
Yeah, just send us a quick DM saying content momentum and we'll reach back out and we can chat, see where you're at, and go from there. But I'm super excited about these changes. I'm super excited about what's to come with the podcast, all the things that are happening. And
my brother's excited because now he can, do all his dances and he'll be on Reel dancing too.
Show my hips. Show my hips.
Hips don't lie.
Hips don't lie. I know. My hips are very rounded at the moment, but it's okay. I'm on the treadmill. I'm working it out. I think that's the episode, Fonz. Good?
That's good.
Awesome. All right, guys. With that said, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow our show in your favorite platform. What's happening?
I have no idea, guys. If this episode helped you move one step closer towards your goal, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.